All right, how's it going, guys? Making this video for those of you guys that are new to crypto trading, specifically leverage trading. I'm going to be running through how to trade on the Blofin exchange. So it's very simple. The first thing you're going to want to do is click our sign up link. We have an affiliate link to where you guys will get 10% cash back on all of the fees. So you save a little bit of money there. We also have some cool deposit bonuses. So I'll leave the link either above or below this video. But let's go through how to actually trade on Blofin, okay? There's two types of crypto trading. There is spot trading, which is buying, holding, and selling. And then there is futures trading, right? Trading with leverage. So let's say you have $100 to trade with. You can leverage that $100, 5, 10, even 100x to trade with a lot more capital without risking more than that initial $100. So let's jump right into it. So once you're inside of Blofin, you want to come up here to futures, press USDT M futures. By the way, if you guys don't know how to get money onto Blofin, what you're going to do is come to the top right, go to assets right here and press deposit. Okay. So we're going to come here to crypto. We're going to deposit USDT, otherwise known as Tether. It doesn't really matter what crypto you deposit into Blofin. However, because we're going to be trading futures with USDT anyway, it makes sense to just send USDT to your address here. So press USDT. And then this is very important. Okay. The network which you're sending it from. If you're sending it from an exchange that supports Tron, I would recommend using TRC20, okay? This is gonna be only $1 or $2 in transfer fees, so very low fees to transfer the money to your Blofin account. However, if you're transferring from a major exchange like crypto.com or Coinbase, those exchanges don't support TRC20. So in that case, you're gonna wanna use ERC20 or the Ethereum network, okay? Fees are gonna be slightly higher, but not really noticeable, okay? If you're unsure of what networks your exchange supports, you can just go to ChatGPT and type in, for example, does crypto.com support TRC20 or whatever. But for a lot of those major exchanges, you wanna be sending via ERC20. So this right here is going to be your USDT ERC20 address in this case. If it's via ETH, it's always gonna start with this 0x. And if it's TRC, it will start with TC, okay? But again, for this example, we're gonna do ERC20. Now, always make sure to send a test amount first. Send like 50 to 100 bucks just to verify that it actually goes through. To send money, all you're gonna do is copy this address, go back to your exchange that you're sending crypto from. For me, that's usually Coinbase. I'll usually send money from Coinbase. So it goes from my bank account to Coinbase and then over to Blofin. And once you're inside your Coinbase account, you're going to withdraw that money. And then when you're withdrawing, it will ask for the recipient address. And that is going to be this address right here. And just make sure you're sending via ERC20 or TRC20. Just make sure that the network aligns with your address right here. Once you have the money in your Blofin account, you're gonna come back up here to assets, go to overview. Once you deposit money into your Blofin, you won't be able to trade with it just yet. So you need to go to the top right here and press transfer. From here, you're gonna press USDT, which is going to be in your funding wallet. So from there, you're just gonna transfer it into your USDTM. This is your futures terminal, so you can actually trade with it. Select the amount you wanna trade with and then press confirm. So just as a test, I'll do 1,000 USDT from my funding into my futures portfolio. I'm gonna press confirm. And there we go, transfer successful. Now it is inside of my futures account and now I can start trading. So you're gonna come down here to USDTM and then we will be good to start trading. So this is what it's gonna look like. Now, if you are trading with our indicators are not on Blofin, okay? So you wanna have a split screen where you have trading view on one screen and then you have the Blofin terminal on the other screen. So you're doing your technical analysis on trading view and then you're actually entering the trade here on Blofin. So if you want to enter a trade, you're going to go to the top right of your screen here. Make sure that the margin mode is on isolated, okay? Isolated means you can only risk the amount that you actually put in the trade. So let's say my total portfolio is around $2,000, right? And I want to be risking $100 per trade or a 5% risk per trade, which if you're starting with a small account, is decent risk management. You want to be risking $100 out of that $2,000 per trade with your stop loss included, meaning if you lose your trade, you lose $100. And if you win your trade, you'll make anywhere from 100 to 300, depending on the trade on average. Cross mode means that you don't get liquidated. For example, if price is going down and invalidates your trade, it will continue to pull money out of your portfolio to keep you in that position. We do not want that to happen. So always make sure that you are on isolated, then press confirm. Then next to that, we have the leverage. Okay, we have the leverage for the long and the leverage for the short. Now, I would recommend never going above 10 to 20x leverage. Okay, leverage doesn't really matter. It's all about position size. Again, no matter what leverage we're using, we're always going to be risking that same percent of our portfolio. But because crypto is so volatile, we don't want to get stopped out on super high leverage. So we want to make sure that we're trading with a slightly lower leverage. So if you're just starting out, I honestly wouldn't go above 10x leverage. But again, leverage doesn't really matter. It's all about position size. So we're going to press confirm. So here we can see we can open a trade or close a trade. In this case, we want to open a trade. So now we have two options here. Okay. We have limit orders and market orders. Okay. So a limit order means if price comes to X level, I will enter the trade. So a lot of the times in my analysis channel, I will say you can set limit orders here. Let's say I want to enter along at $102,000. Okay. I'd put $102,000 as my price that I want to get filled at. And then I'll put the amount that I want to enter the trade with. I always do USDT, okay? I want to see how much I'm going to be risking in USDT. So before we can actually calculate our position size, meaning how much USDT we're going to enter per trade, we need to set our stop loss. So let's say my stop loss in this case is 100,000, okay? So if Bitcoin goes to $100,000, then my position will get stopped out. And now I can play around with the position size. If price comes to $102,000, I will enter a $10,000 long position. Now keep in mind, this does not mean we are actually entering with $10,000. That includes the leverage. So technically speaking, we are entering with $1,000 of our own money with our stop loss at $100,000. If price hits our stop loss, we will be losing around $196. So let's say we have a $2,000 account. We want to make sure that this is no more than $100. So we're going to try around 5,000, okay? Maybe 5,200, okay? And there we go. So now technically we're going to be entering with $520 of our own money on 10x leverage. And if price hits our stop loss, we will be losing $101 or around that 5% risk of our $2,000 portfolio. We can also set our take profit levels in advance if we have them as well. I like to close my positions manually. I don't like to take profit via limit orders. Press confirm, and my limit order is now in place. So if price comes to this level, my limit order will be activated and I will be in the trade. As soon as I enter the trade, my stop loss will automatically populate at $100,000. Obviously, I don't want to enter this trade, so I'm going to cancel this order. Now, the second way to enter a trade, which is what you guys are probably going to be doing, is via market orders, okay? So anytime a pro analyst sends a signal in the Discord, you're gonna wanna enter that trade immediately. So let's say there's a signal for a Bitcoin long here at 113K and I wanna get into this trade. I'm gonna put it on market. Again, set my stop loss. So let's say my invalidation is $108,000. Obviously, if we're entering on that same USDT amount, we're gonna be risking way too much. So we are going to lower this to around 2,000, okay? 2,000. There we go. We have an estimated P&L of negative $100. So if we lose this trade, we're going to be losing $100. And then we can just press long to enter the trade. I'll just show you guys real quick what it will look like. Now, again, this is where leverage comes into play. If you want to enter with, let's say, 20x leverage, you can change that leverage to 20x. And you can see that with that same USDT amount, we are risking the same amount. So you might be wondering, what changed from the leverage? Well, all that changed was the amount of money that I actually put into the trade. So now instead of putting in upfront, what was that, $200, I'm now putting up $100 upfront. Keep in mind, the risk is the exact same, right? So I'm still gonna be losing $100 either way, but on one end, I'm putting up that entire $100, meaning that my trade will get liquidated if price hits my stop loss. And on 10x leverage, it means that I will be losing 50% of what I put in. I will not be getting liquidated, but it doesn't really matter. Okay, it's all about position size because at the end of the day, I'm still losing that same $100 at that 5% risk of my $2,000 account. So just for shits and giggles, we are going to enter the trade. We're gonna press long, press confirm. Boom. Now we are in the trade. As you can see that automatically you're going to be down a little bit. This is simply due to the Blofin fees. Also, the higher leverage you enter with, the higher the fees are. So when you can, lower leverage is best. Obviously, I don't want to be in a long position here, so I'm just going to close this trade. So to close this trade, you can come over here to amount. Now, a lot of times we'll say TP1 or TP2 or TP3. So for TP1, let's say I want to take 50% of the trade off the table. I can do that. I can press close. There we go. I've closed 50% of the trade. And if I want to move my stop loss to break even, I can move it right to my entry. So now I've already taken 50% profit and my stop loss is at break even. So very simple to use, not rocket science. At this point, I'm just going to close the entire trade, make sure that it's at the market price, and I'm going to close that trade. We just executed a trade in real time, took about 30 seconds. The only thing you guys need to focus on is making sure that you are not entering via cross and make sure that you're calculating your risk properly. Blofin makes it very simple to calculate your risk. with this stop loss feature. So before you get into a trade, you always want to set your stop loss in advance. That is how you can actually calculate how much USDT you want to get in the trade. There's also some trigger orders as well, which we're not going to cover that in this video. You guys mainly want to focus on limit and market orders. Okay, this is for Bitcoin. If I want to trade, let's say Ethereum, I can just type in ETH USDT. And if I want to trade ETH, I can do the same thing. Let's say I want to enter a market long on ETH right here. I'm going to set my stop loss at this low right here. So 3471, that is going to be my stop loss. And I'm going to set my amount to 10,000. So a little bit more, right? 14,000, a little bit less. So $13,000. And I'm risking around that $100 mark. And let's say I want to set my TP. I'll set my TP at 3533. So there we go. I'm going to press long, market, boom, right? Now we're in a long position. Our stop loss is set on our chart and we have our take profit there as well. You can see that we are currently in the trade. So you can see I actually entered the trade with $650 of my own money, right? So this is money that is in my portfolio that I now cannot trade with because it is tied into this trade. So if you wanted to lower this amount, let's say you only want to put up $200 so you have that extra money to get in other trades, that is when you would increase your leverage to, let's say, a 50 or higher leverage. But again, I wouldn't recommend that. Don't go above a 10, 20x leverage if you're just starting out. We're down a little bit currently due to the fees, and I'm actually getting killed. I don't want to be longing here. So I'm going to close this trade. Make sure that action is at market price, size to 100%, and we are going to close this trade. Okay, order placed. Boom. Now, if you wanted to buy spot crypto, so let's say in the bear market, you want to buy spot Ethereum, you're going to go to spot here, but you probably don't have money in your spot account. So again, what we're going to do is go to overview here. We're going to transfer money from our funding if we have it in funding, or we can transfer it from our futures to our spot account, do $1,000. Okay, now it's going to be in our spot account. Go back to spot at the top of the screen here. And now let's say we want to buy spot Bitcoin. Now we can buy spot here as well. Change the amount to total USDT. You can see this is the available balance that we have in our spot account. So let's say I want to buy $500 worth of Bitcoin. I'll slide this to 50% and then I can buy $500 worth of spot Bitcoin. But again, you guys mainly want to focus on futures. You guys are here to leverage trade. So you mainly want to focus on USDT futures. Now there's tons of other coins on here. So if you guys find a setup or signal that's called inside the Pro Discord, you might have to search it up here, right? So let's say there is a long position called on Tau, for example, right? So I'll look up Tau, USDT, there it is, boom, enter the chart, and now I can do the same thing, right? I can enter via limit order or a market order, calculate my risk, and then enter the trade. Now, if you guys are brand new to trading, I would highly recommend tracking your trades as well, right? Noting down your previous trades, being able to see month over month why you entered a trade, where you went wrong. So to do that, we have a completely free trade tracker inside the Pro Discord, inside of the Basic Docs channel. You guys can grab that for absolutely free. Tracking your trades is a must, especially if you're starting out. You want to see where you went wrong on a losing trade, see what you did right on a winning trade, look back on how you managed your trade and learn from your past mistakes. But that is going to be it for trading on Blofin. Okay, I don't want to make this video too long. I don't want to drag it out too long. Very simple. Blofin is the only exchange that I recommend. There are going to be other exchanges out there if you guys want to trade on them that have lower fees. However, the only issue with trading on other exchanges is that they are very scammy, okay? They can lock you out of your account. They can take your money. That's happened to me multiple times across many decentralized trading platforms. I personally know the Blofin team. For whatever reason, you can always reach out to me and I can reach out on your behalf to make sure you guys are good, okay? So the main reason I stick with Blofin is not only the very simple user interface, it's also non-KYC for US traders. If you're like myself, in the United States, it's non-KYC, meaning you don't have to submit any information to create an account. Just sign up with your email, send money, and then you guys can trade. And also it's due to safety, okay? Your money is safe on Blofin. I can't say the same about other exchanges. So that is why I promote Blofin, and I urge all of you guys to trade on the Blofin exchange only. That's gonna be it. Let me know if you guys have any questions. I'm always here to help you guys inside of the Discord if you guys need help setting up an account, but very straightforward stuff. It will take a little bit to get used to the user interface. I know it looks super complicated. We got this order book, we got trade history, we got tools. Like, what the hell does this mean? The only thing you guys need to focus on is limit and market orders, and you guys are gonna be good to go. So that's gonna be it for the video. Again, if you guys wanna sign up, I will leave the link either above or below this video. Sign up with the link, get the 10% cash back on fees, and yeah, let's make some money.